Yo folks, Lee Davey again with another quick and rapid little podcast episode for the Alcohol Addiction Podcast, designed to help you become someone who doesn't drink alcohol, exactly like me and a bunch of other strivers who are exactly in the same boat. And I've just been listening to Jen Cicero. You are a badass at making money. I'm still listening to that book on Audible at the moment, and she just said something that reminded me of something else that Jordan Peterson said that I'd read in his 12 Rules for Life book, which started off all right, and I liked the first chapter, which is what I'm going to talk about now. And then since then, it's kind of tapered off. I might go back to it, finish reading it. Thing is, there are so many books to read in the world that once I get stuck on one and it starts to get a little bit boring or it loses me a little bit, I prefer to just get rid of it than to persevere, because time is precious, right? It's the same with movies. I used to have this thing where I'd watch a movie, and because I'd started it, it's like the sunk cost fallacy. I had to finish watching it. Well, I'm not like that so much anymore. If I don't like something, I'll just turn it off. House of Cards is a good example. I love the House of Cards, and then now there's no Frank, and I understand why there's no Frank. It's not the same anymore, so I just stopped watching it. Anyway, gone completely off tangent. Let's get back to where I was. So, Jen Cicero, she's talking about money, being a badass about making money, and it's not necessarily about the accounting side of things. It's about how you think and feel about money. And in the last part that I was listening to her, she's talking about body language, which ties into the first chapter in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. So the first chapter is stand up tall with your shoulders back, but an erect posture. All right. Now, this is what Jen Cicero is saying as well. It's about how you give off yourself. Like, what is your demeanor that you're giving off to the world? What are you saying to the world? Not the people around you, but if you believe in such things as universal energy, what are you giving off to the energy around the world? I mean, here's the thing. When I was a kid, people used to want to take a little pot shot at me. They would look at me, this little skinny, little runt, small little thing that looked different than everybody else, because I was the only one that was half Chinese, and they would call me like Chinky Chinaman or Jackie Chan or whatever they used to call me. Chink, that was the one that used to fucking hurt the most. And I remember like going home crying at my old man, and my old man said, well, you've got to fucking whack them. Like, if somebody is like calling you names or posturing to, try to, he didn't say this, but I think what he was saying at the time was, if they're posturing to elevate their status above you, then you've got to knock them down a peg or two, right? Which was difficult for me at the time, because these were big fuckers and I was just a little weedy boy, Anyway, I just wanted to just show my dad that I was like, I always was vying to be visible in front of my dad, not invisible, not somebody that needed to go to bed. Like, my dad would come home after working away, and if the kids were up, he'd be like, get the fucking bed, get out of the way. And I wanted him to see me. If my dad said punch somebody, then it didn't matter if they were Big Daddy, I would have to punch them. And here's the thing, right? I got battered more than I won fights when I was a kid. But once I punched somebody, then they kind of left me alone. And we all know, don't we, that bullies prey on weakness. And if a bully thinks you've got a weakness because you're small and you run like, but you hit them back, they'll just go and find somebody else to bully. I'm not suggesting we should all go punching people who get on our nerves. I'm using it as an example to demonstrate how that early direction from my father about protecting myself, plus the fact that I was good at football, added to my status at that time, that allowed me to kind of walk around the schoolyard standing up straight with my shoulders back and my head held up high. And that way of being was severely tested when I moved to Wales at the age of 10, because I didn't know anybody. And then schoolyard's a cutthroat business, isn't it? It's a tough environment. And I had a choice of either really standing up tall with my shoulders back in the face of everybody, because now people were calling me an English cunt as well as a Chinese cunt, right? Now, that was something new to me. So again, I had to stand up strong with my shoulders back, and unfortunately, I kind of developed that anyway as being a youngster. Where am I going with this? Well, it's very unusual for anybody to laugh or to take the piss out of my decision to be someone who doesn't drink alcohol, or my decision to be vegan. There are a few friends who I don't see in my life anymore. They're not like, they've kind of drifted out from friends to acquaintances who might make a joke every now and then, but it's generally in an environment that I'm not in anymore, which is in the pub type of thing. It's very rare, it's very unusual, all right? And that is because they know I don't take no shit. If somebody turns around and has a pop at me for being somebody who doesn't drink alcohol, and the pop is generally them trying to be a smart ass, trying to make a joke, then I won't take it. I won't take it because it's not in my nature to take it. So, and I believe that this philosophy of standing up straight with your shoulders back is an energy thing. It's not necessarily a physical thing, because as Liza will tell you, I've got the worst posture going. I walk around like Lurch, right? It's not a physical thing, it's a mental thing, it's an energy thing. Like, you're walking around giving off the energy that don't fuck with me, right? And not don't fuck with me in a violent sense, but don't fuck with me because I demand respect. Now, if you are somebody who is posturing or considering being somebody who doesn't drink alcohol, or you're already on that journey, or you are someone who doesn't drink alcohol, and you are frightened or nervous or anxious about going to the pub with your friends or telling your friends about the decision you've made because of what they might say, then you may need to question whether or not you are, quote unquote, walking around straight with your shoulders back, looking very confident. And I say again, I don't mean that in a physical sense, I mean that in a mental and psychological sense, right? Because if you go out into an environment where alcohol exists and you do not exude that confident energy, and you will end up kind of like fannying around, giving your reasons why you don't drink alcohol in a very unconfident way. And that allows the door for the bullies and the piss takers to sneak in there. And once they sneak in there and give you a few low blows, it knocks your confidence even lower. And now you start to think to yourself, wow, this is dreadful. I don't want to be someone who don't drink alcohol because my status is dropping and I'm not going to be belong to this tribe anymore. But if you go into this situation with a real strong energy and a real confidence about you, and then you tell people that you are someone who doesn't drink alcohol and the reasons why, like, now it's unlikely that they're going to take the piss out of you, and instead they're more likely to get interested in your decision, to ask you some questions, and now you've got somebody who's engaged in a deep, meaningful conversation, connecting with you on an issue that is important to you in life, which is what we're all seeking for, right? So how do you go from being a little wallflower to being that person in the center of the room, standing up straight with your shoulders back? Come to Strive. You do the taster, you do the intensive, you learn the philosophy of the truth about alcohol. By removing alcohol from your life, by learning that philosophy, you will gain a self-confidence and a surety about you that you've never had before. And you get angry about alcohol, okay? When the marketing machine starts to disgust you, and you channel that disgust and that anger into cementing your conviction around being someone that doesn't drink alcohol, the energy you exude will be fantastic, okay? When we help you create a killer statement that you're ready to roll out whenever anybody asks you why you don't want to drink. And not just that killer statement, but the follow-up statement when they ask you why, when you tell them why you're not drinking. When they keep digging, you keep knowing what to say because you are so assured about your decision not to drink alcohol. That comes from being around like-minded people and working on the philosophy, okay? So that's what I want to say. Walk around with your standing up straight with your shoulders back. Okay, my name is Lee Davey. I'm not an alcoholic. I refuse to be anonymous. I'm someone who doesn't drink alcohol. I spend every waking moment of my life helping other people do the same, as well as banging on about being more confident in life. Okay, please listen to that. It's really super important if you want to be someone who doesn't drink alcohol. Take care.